Hi all, welcome to the session on competitive programming with ChatGPT. So here in this session, we are trying to learn about some of the prompts that can be used with ChatGPT to learn competitive programming from the beginning or very basics. So to begin with the videos, let's try to answer some of the very basic questions like what is competitive programming, right? So instead of answering by ourselves, let's try to use a ChatGPT AI prompt to answer for our queries. So for that, let us move to ChatGPT. So this is a ChatGPT that has been developed by OpenAI, where it will try to answer every queries that we have. So the very first queries that we have is what is competitive programming? So let's try to write the questions for ourselves. What is competitive programming? And we also know that there will be many different languages that is already programming structures that we have in the industries, and how this competitive programming is special and how it differs from the other traditional programming. So let's ask this with ChatGPT itself. So once we provide our queries to the ChatGPT, OpenAI tool comes into the picture that tries to provide the answer to the queries that we have. So as of now, as we can see, once we provided the queries such as what is competitive programming and how it does or differs from the other traditional development, it tries to give the clear cut definition of what is competitive programming and what is the relationship with the traditional softwares. So basically it says a competitive programming is a type of programming competitions where participants are given algorithmic and mathematical problem to solve within the limited time frames. So competitors are usually ranked according to how quickly and accurately they can solve these problems. So this is what our definition of competitive programming is. And in contrast, it also says that it is in the traditional software development, competitive programming focuses more on algorithmic problem solving and optimization. So there are many other differences which is also provided. So moreover, the competitive programming places a high emphasis on speed and efficiency. Another difference between the competitive programming and traditional software development is the level of collaboration involved, many things. So overall, it also provides us a summary saying overall the competitive programming is a specialized form of programming that requires a unique set of skills and focuses more on algorithmic problem solving, efficiency, and individual performance. So basically, it's not only provided the definition of the competitive programming, it also provided the differences between the traditional software development and competitive programming. So next, okay, we know what is a competitive programming and how it differs from the traditional software development also. So now, how can we, how the competitive programming give me the in the industry, what is there with the competitive programming in the industries? So let's ask the ChatGPT itself to provide us the answer for that. So for that, I'll just write the prompt saying how can. So again, this is basically, I'm trying to get to know like what is competitive programming actually does in the industries. So basically, it gives it in the bullet format saying that competitive programming can provide several benefits that you can use in the edge of industries. For example, the first is the problem solving skill. So if you are well versed with the competitive programming, then you will be able to gain a self problem solving skills. The second is algorithmic efficiencies. Basically, we will be having some algorithms that will be we can efficiently use. Learning a new technologies, time management, confidence. Overall, a competitive programming can help you to develop a unique set of skills that can give you an edge in the industries. It also helps you to build a strong network of likely minded individuals and gain exposure to different industries sectors. So basically, it's not only provides just an answer, it also provides a summary for your queries like what to choose, what not to choose, and so things. So okay, I got to know what is competitive programming and how the competitive programming is very important in the edge of industries. So if I became a competitive programming pro, might be, then what is the average salary that I can expect? Again, let's discuss it with the chat GPT itself. So let's go and just asking a question saying, what is the average salary? So yeah, basically I become a competitive programming expert in the industry. So what is the average salary that I can expect from the industries, right? This might help us during the interviews to negotiate. So basically, it also provides the average salary a person can get when he becomes the expert in the competitive programming. So basically, it says the salary for the developers who are expert in the competitive programming can be very greatly depending on factors such as level of experience, their location, their industries they work in. However, in general, the developers who are expert in competitive programming tend to earn higher salaries compared to the other peers who don't have the skills. So basically, it also says like it only does not only depend on the skills that you gain. It also depends on the level of experience that you have, the location that you're located in, and the industries that you work for. So it also says like it also not only says that I cannot give you the salary, average salary. It also says that according to the salary data in the Glassdoor, so it goes to some other platforms and check what is the salary of a software engineer who is expert in the competitive programming. So basically, it comes around 90,000 to $120,000 per year in the United States, basically. So since OpenAI has the data of all the employees or of all the data related United States, it gives us in the dollars. So we can convert it into Indian rupees, anything required. So it also gives us a summary. As we can also see, like all the questions that we are asking, it also gives us a summary at the last, saying it is also worth noting that it does not only as a developer we need not to go with the uh, average salary that we get. It also depends on the noting that demand for the developers who is an expert in competitive programming is often high, right? So when the demand is high, there will be a higher salary that one can get. So it also provides different scenarios where you can get the higher salaries and so on so things. Okay, so now I have made up a mind to be a competitive programmer. So now, as a first thing, I got to know like what is for competitive programming means. In the second prompt, we get to know that like why competitive programming is so important and how it differs from the other programmers. And I also got to know what will be the average salary and one can get when he become the expert in the competitive programming. So now let's try to now, if I made up a mind to become a competitive programmer, so now I need to get prepared for that, right? So I need to get prepared for to become the competitive programmer. So now let's try to give some of the prompts that will help me to learn about the competitive programming. So for that, let me take a help from the ChatGPT itself, like saying that list down. Basically, I have made up my mind to become a competitive programmer. So now, what are the points that I should follow to prepare for a competitive programming? So it always says like the chat GPT comes up with the answer saying these are there are some of the points that you have to keep in mind to become a competitive programmer. The first among is practice regularly. So basically, ChatGPT is saying to practice regularly on a regular basis to become a competitive programmer. Second is learn the data structure and algorithms. That's what ChatGPT is saying to us. So it's not ChatGPT saying basically it it takes the data from different models and give us the result of it. So basically, it gives our giving around we have to practice regularly to become a competitive programmer. Then it says learning data structures and algorithms help us in becoming a competitive programmers. The third is to solve the problems on the online platforms. There are different type of platforms that we have in the world. So for example, HackerRank, Codeforce, TopCoder, Lead Codes, and many more, which has the competitive programming problems to solve. So you can go to the platform and solve those problems. Then learn a variety of programming languages. The competitive programming is not only about Java or JavaScript or Python. It's about everything, every languages that you have. So each languages will have its own competitive programming. use of the different right tools. Basically, you can use the you have to use a right tools for debugging, text editing, and so things to become a competitive programmer. And you have to analyze your performance and collaborate with others. Basically, this will be the one of the important things. So you have to collaborate with others to get to know that you at what level you stand in as a competitive programmer. Again, the beauty of ChatGPT, at last, it also gives a summary of the answer that is providing. That is overall the key to prepare for the competitive programming is to a regular practice, learn and master important concept, and use the right tool to write efficient code. So these are the points that I need to keep in mind before starting with the competitive programming. Okay, I made up my mind to become a competitive programming, and I kept in mind all these points that is provided by the ChatGPT. So now, so to get started, there will be some of the topics that I need to go through to become a competitive programmer. Like, so let ask the ChatGPT itself to. So let me go to the send message. So let me say that list down around 20 topics might be. So here, okay, so we have all the basic knowledge that we want, but what are all the concepts that I should go through to become a competitive programming, right? So this will provide me, I have limited my topics to 20. You can go to 40, you can go to 30 anytime, any number. So the 20 topics that I should go through to become a competitive programmer is first is basic programming, such as loops, conditions, and functions in any language that you go. These are the very basic constructs. Then we have to go through the data structures like arrays, strings, linked lists, and so on things. Trees and binaries, binary searches, graphs algorithms, dynamic programming technique, divide and conquer, greedy algorithm, bit manipulation technique, computation geometric, number of theories, and so on so things. At last, we have convex Hill algorithms. And at last, as always, there will be a summary that will be provided by the ChatGPT. Thus, there are few more topics that, it also says that it's not only the topics that you need to be worried about. There are few more topics that you need to learn for competitive programming. It's important to remember that the most important thing is to practice regularly and solve as many problems as possible to gain skills and experience. Okay, so I got to know some of the topics that I need to go through to become a competitive programming. I can get resources for all this topic from the ChatGPT itself, right? And if you go through anywhere, and you might have the theoretical questions on some of the topics, right? So we have all the topics that is provided here. So if I want any theoretical questions that I need to worry about or I need to study before going through the practical sessions. So let me ask that ChatGPT itself for that. So I'll just say like give me a give me some theoretical question. I just don't say it as A, so I'll just say it as give me some theoretical question. So it also provides me the theoretical questions. So just because of the topics, I might not be able to go through all the topics and get to know. So I'll just try to find some theoretical questions on the competitive programming, and it will provide me the questions for that. So it says the first question is what is the time complexity of the merge sort algorithm, and how does sorting algorithms like quick sort or heap sort. So there are many other questions that will be provided. So since I have just provided as some theoretical questions, so it randomly picks up the number of questions and give it to us, right? So there are 10 questions that has been provided. So I can ask for many more questions also, like 20, 30, 40, any number of questions, and the chat gpt will be able to give us the questions for that. So I have a question now. So I want to go to any other uh, platform and get the answer for those? No, chat gpt is here for us to answer for those. So I'll just say it as give me answer for other, give me answers to the above question, answers to the questions. So instead of I copy pasting into the other platform and getting the answer, I can just go to the chat GPT itself and just say like, okay, you have asked the question to me. Let's you provide the answer to me itself. So I can just go through the theoretical questions and I'll be able to answer. No, I'll be able to learn from the answers that you have providing. So basically, the very first question was is what is the time complexity of the merge sort algorithm? And here the answer is here. So it says the merge sorting algorithm is of complexity big O of n log n. And we also asked like how does it compare to other algorithm like quick sort and heap sort. So it's also giving the differences like how it differs from the other sorting algorithms. So this is trying to provide the answer for all 10 questions. So let me stop generating because I might not need to go to all the 10 questions as of now, but I can come back to any time and get the answer for those questions that has been asked. Okay, so I just gone through all the theoretical questions. So I have been provided with 10 questions. So now, okay, I have resolved all the 10 questions and I know the answers for all these 10 questions. So what now? So what if I want to learn more? What if I want to get more questions? So I can just ask the ChatGPT itself. So basically, it's providing me only the questions, only 10 questions. So here, instead of providing only the questions, let me try, give me 10 more questions with the answers. So here, it's try to give a different question than what is already was asked here. So here there was only questions where there were 10 questions. Here it will try to ask me some more questions which is not repetitive, and along with that I'll also get the answer for that in a single prompt itself. So basically here I'm trying to get the question also, and in at last it's also giving the answer for those. So there will be 10 questions that will be provided, and 10 answers, corresponding answers will also be provided along with that. So we are done with 5. So it goes on till all the 10 questions has been asked and all the 10 questions has been answered for it. So we have 8 questions saying depth first search and breadth first search. So it also provides the answer for it. The ninth question. So and at last it also gives the 10th question also for us. So now we have all the theoretical questions that we have asked, like what are the theoretical questions that might be asked or that might we need to be worried about for becoming a competitive programming. So we have around 20 questions now. So first 10 questions where we provide where we got the answer separately, where in the second prompt we try to give 10 more questions along with the answers, and we got it right. So we have all the theoretical questions now. So it's not only theoretical that we need to be worried about to become a competitive programming, right? So we need to practice something, we need to have the practical examples also. So for that, let me go and choose one language called Java. So I'll just say give me some Java coding based. So basically I'm just saying to give the Java coding based questions with the answer basically. So again, instead of just getting the questions from the ChatGPT, let's try to get the answer also from the ChatGPT on competitive programming. So here it's not only the theoretical questions. So here we try to get the coding based questions also. So for example, the first question says, give me an array integer with a Java program to find the maximum sum of any sub arrays basically. So it's a question, and along with that, it's also providing the answer for us. So basically, and there is a second question that has been provided to us, right? So I can try to solve it by myself and cross verify with the answer that the chat gpt gave, or I can just use this code itself in my application and try to try to validate it or try to make some changes and try to validate the answer that has been provided. So it goes on giving some of the questions for us. So let's try to run some of the code that is already been provided. For example, here it says, given an integer array, we have to write a Java program to find the maximum sum of any subarray. So basically, it is giving me this code. So let me copy the code here and go to the IntelliJ. So I have already created a empty Java program as of now. So if I go to main and if I go to main class, so here I'll be able to see only the PSVM, that is public static void main only. So along with that, I'll just copy I'll just paste the code that was provided by the chat GPT. So I'll just paste it. So here it is. Okay, import statement was pasted here. So I'll just control X and go to the top and provide the import statements here. So maximum sum. So it has the static void main itself inside it. So it the ChatGPT doesn't know that we have already created an empty Java program already. So it's already providing the void main functions also. So let me delete the void main here, which is already, and there's no main class. So I'll just remove this. Okay, so now we have a main class with all static void main function. Along with that, it's also we are just copy pasting the whole code that was provided by the ChatGPT. So now, without any making any changes here, so let's try to run this application. Okay, so the application started running, and if you can see in the seventh line, it is asking for an array size. So I'll just say it as the array size as 5. And next it is for each array, for each array element I need to provide some value for it. So I'll just give it as random values like 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. So here it says the sum of all the numbers is 28. So basically the ChatGPT is providing the questions to us, and along with that it's also providing the answer to us, right? So I can just copy paste the answer in my local system or into my local application and make any changes that is required to learn more about this, and I can make it more complicated or less complicated, or I can debug it and do everything that I want. So same way we have other questions also, like for example program to find the greatest common divisor, a reverse a string using recursion, so array of strings. Basically as a competitive programmer, what we can do is we can just go through those questions, try to answer it on our own, and then cross verify the answer with us, with the answer that is provided by the ChatGPT, so that we learn more on that, right? So we have asked for some theoretical question, it gave. We asked for the answer for the theoretical question that ChatGPT has asked for. So we got the answer, and in again we provided a prompt saying that we need 10 more questions, theoretical questions, and we need the answer along with that. So I don't need to provide two more prompts to get the answer. I need to get the answer in that itself. And we got the question as well as the answer. And in the last prompt, we also said that to give me the practical or the coding example of the Java along with the answer to become a competitive programmer, and it gave me the question as well as the answer. So I can ask for 10 more question on the practical coding, and it will provide us to that, right? So here we try to get all the questions as well as the answers. So moreover this basically depending on all the prompts only on the competitive programming. So is there any website basically to become competitive programmers, like I need to read the theory or I need to go through the official documentation or something like that? So instead of me going and searching on Google or somewhere, I can just ask the Google chat GPT itself saying that give me a list intermediate level. So okay, you gone through all the competitive programming and you try to answer all the questions that ChatGPT is asking regarding the competitive programming. So now you leveled up from the beginner to intermediate level. So what are the practices that you can do with the intermediate level? So I can just say that where I can practice intermediary. So basically, it's not only with the ChatGPT every time I need to provide the prompt and it provides the answer for me. So if I want to practice on our own, or it's not only the ChatGPT practical question that ChatGPT is providing. I need to have some more websites where there are real world problems. So I can just ask for that also with the ChatGPT saying that for an intermediate level of competitive programming, where are the websites that I can go through. So it also provides some of the websites is already available. For example, Codeforce, AtCoder, TopCoder. It's not only giving the website name, it's also giving the website link also, which you can just click on it and go to this link and go to all the competitive programming practical examples that we have. So again, there is a end note saying that these are the variety of problem sets with the increasing difficulty levels. So as you try to solve one after the other, it provides more difficulty problems to us. Thus, we improve on our problem solving skills. So this is one of the website. So now we come to an end of this session where just a recall of this session where we have learned about of some of the prompts that we can use with the chat gpt for become a competitive programming. So it's not only with the basic prompts such as what is competitive programming or what is the salary, and all the stuffs. We can also ask for a real world problems like questions, practical questions with the answers, and we can ask for some websites and so things. We have written all the prompts for that to become a beginner level or a intermediate level competitive programming with chat gpt. So that is how the ChatGPT helps us to become a competitive programmer. So by this we will be coming to the end of this video where we learned about some of the prompts that we can be using with to learn about the competitive programming. Thank you.